welcome to the Pop Culture Green Room. This is Blair Bryant.
And this is Kimberly Bryant.
And we are wrapping up 2023 with a very special guest who we are super excited about.
Oh, yeah.
And you may know her as the Zen Blonde on TikTok and on Instagram and by our podcast, and also an appearance on the Army Hair documentary on Discovery Plus. Please welcome Lauren Skae.
Woohoo! Sorry if I talked over you. It cut out a second, but thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like we've been talking for like several years at this point, and it was time for this to happen. And I'm so glad I get to wrap up with you two.
I know, it's so crazy. And so we're finally here. We finally got our YouTube channel up like 8 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then we waited forever to do it. And then finally I was like, let's just go ahead and just pull the fucking trigger. Let's do it.
Yes.
And then we did it and we are having so much fun with it. So, and then the funny thing is, like Blair said, she was manifesting to have you here for like our year in review, because who else would be better than you? And nobody.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I think about sometimes I'm DM'd you about things and topics, and I'm like, she'd be perfect for this, and we did it. So here we are.
I'm so happy that I could be a part of somebody's manifestation, but I feel like I'm like thankful that I get to have this conversation, because it's like I'm wrapping up the year of my pop culture therapy of like all of the things that drive me crazy on a daily basis.
I love it. I'm here for it. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I guess we can just jump right in. I'm like because like I said, it's a free for all. So like whatever your favorite topics were, favorite stories or events, and it either be, you know, whether it's like celebrity related or true crime related or just something like fashion related. We're just pop culture, so I mean, go ahead and have at it. So like,
oh my gosh, it's like, well, I feel like all three of us before we started recording were really talking about one of the things that defined this year, Scandival. I feel like the three of us,
yes.
All of our worlds were rocked by that. I mean, could you imagine if I told you last New Year's Eve that Vanderpump Rules was going to be referenced in the White House Correspondents' speech?
What?
It was going to have insane ratings. Ariana Madix is going to be like a household name, and like there were going to be like 11 million viewers or something crazy like that, and it was going to be Emmy nominated. Would you believe me?
It's like it's unbelievable. And then not only that, but what's so hysterical about it is the amount of A-list celebrities who are actually following the whole
that's what's been amusing about it.
It is crazy. I mean, it's nuts to see. I saw Emma Roberts did Luann de Lesseps' egg recepe.
Yes, I saw that. I love that.
I was like, wow, they're just like us. They're watching the shows too. So do you remember where you were when you heard that Tom Sandoval cheated on Ariana Madix?
Yes, I remember. The funny thing is that I was actually on my laptop because, funny enough, I was actually geared up for things for an episode of our podcast. And looking up things online, all of a sudden I see I'm scrolling down. I'm like, oh my god! It's like TMZ on Instagram that Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval broke up because he was cheating on Ariana with one Raquel Leviss. And it was wild. And then I was like, Kim, we gotta hurry and record an emergency episode of this. And we did, and we got like
that was like our highest rate.
That was the highest rate episode. We had like I think like over like, and that was like we were in our infancy in our podcast.
Yeah, it was like what, our third episode?
It was like our third episode, yes.
Yeah, it was.
We did like a quick like 8-minute episode, and like we had like I think close to like today I think close to 1,000 listens on that one. But on that one alone, which is pretty crazy because for saying we just started out. And but it's funny because I remember watching the episode because I watched it since season 1, and the only season I didn't watch was season I believe it was season 8, the one during with COVID,
the one with Max and whoever else is on there. Like I didn't watch that season. That was the one I totally missed.
I watched that one, but I just like during the pandemic one, I still wasn't really interested. I wasn't really feeling it, but so I missed that season. But I got back into this one, which was season 9, I believe, and for some reason, I was kind of like, I'm like, you know what? Ariana can do better than Tom Sandoval. And I've been thinking that for years. And it seemed like the floodgates had to burst open for that to happen because she deserves better than him. He's such like, and it's like how people make, like a lot of people make fun of him, like, oh, he's this corny dude. So much. I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, I've been thinking this for several years now. And I'm like, it's about damn time people caught on.
You knew. feminine intuition.
Yes. And I remember I was just floored when I saw that. And I just told Kim, I'm like, Kim, come check this out. And so it just seemed like everybody just turned to it. Just seemed like
it's like the world stopped.
A global event. Yes. And I didn't know people were like so tuned into it. And then and I remember just feeling like so bad for Ariana and being like just my head spinning, being like, oh my God, like Raquel was like one of her closest friends, and how could she do this to her? And then and I was just excited to see more details come out. And then and it seemed like Demois, she was kind of like, oh, I loved it because she was kind of like, breaking things down as it happened and from what she was hearing. And the thing what to me that just keeps making my head spin so much about it, which excites me, is that she was getting DMs from people since December about them.
Yeah, that's right.
But she didn't want to say anything, which I think rightfully so, out of privacy and respect for Ariana. But,
I saw them looking a little cozy in December at a holiday party. But again, it was one of those things that you're like, oh, well, everyone's drunk. And maybe that's why they're leaning up in that way. And maybe people are just more touchy-feely than I am, kind of thing. But I was actually with Ariana. I shared an Uber with her Thursday before Scandival broke. And I met her a few times.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, I think did we lose her? Oh no.
I think
the entire world got rocked just a week later. And I was like, oh my God. And the next thing you know, it's Raising Cane's is want to do this ambassador thing with Ariana. I was sure. She's being celebrated at the chicken restaurant. It was wild. And I'm so glad
it was.
She has really taken it in stride and has the amazing cocktail book. She did Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. She's now going to do be Roxy on Broadway. It's I feel like Broadway was probably always an aspiration for her. So I feel like things just even though it was horrible and the unfolding, I'm sure very traumatic and sad for her, and the house situation. There's so many complicated layers to how shitty this is for her. I feel like she really came out on top, and Tom Sandoval is just such a worm with a mustache. And I did see him.
There's no other way to put it.
I've seen him twice now in West Hollywood out at the bars, proudly showing his face. And it's funny, one of the nights I think they were filming VPR, and I happened to be at it was James was doing a See You Next Tuesday, I think, or something, but they were filming a little bit, and so that was the first time I saw him, and it was such a jump scare. It was he felt like it was
that sounds like a perfect description.
You're gonna be cursed by seeing this person. It's you need to go and cleanse yourself in a vat of holy water or something. And so anyway, it's funny though, because there will always be those kind of star fuckers in LA. I don't know if but there were girls that were in there that were and I'm like, what he did. What he did. What are you doing? But yeah, people are wild. And so I ended up seeing him throughout the night, because there's a bunch of different bars in that area. There's the Abbey, there's Tom Tom. Okay. I don't know if you've probably been to the Sir and stuff, but it's all in one street, Sir, Pump, before Pump.
Yeah, I haven't been to Sir. Yeah, Sir, I haven't made it to.
Tom. It's all in that area where the Abbey is, so it's all walkable. So I've seen them around there a bunch.
Okay.
And then the second time he was walking into another gay bar when I was at one with John and my friends, and just it was again, it's you're oh, I don't want to see this man.
Every time I see him on my TV, I just have James and my Kim in my ear going, "You're just the one with the mustache."
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%. He is. That's exactly what he looks like. It's ooh.
Yeah, that's why I said, I was there's really no other way to describe him. It's
but it's we also love what's done for all their careers, and all I had to send it to Daryl sweater she's selling. I was able to get down payment for a new house with that money. And then Kristen's been vindicated, Jax has been vindicated. Because Jax has been saying all along about how he's been a snake in the grass, and no one really believed him. And the thing about Jax is that Jax, I mean, he has his ways and all, but it's with Jax, it's what you see is what you get. Whereas Tom Sandoval was always just trying to just play it up and just, I'm this cool, goofy guy, whatever, with his band. And it's just he was just a slime ball, and it's just been, but that's just been that was my favorite story because it just keeps but I'm excited about seeing season 10 play out in January,
or season 11. It's season 11.
Is it season 11? Okay, I couldn't remember.
Do you have any predictions for season 11?
From looking at previews, I have a couple of them. I would say that I think we might start seeing some jealousy of Ariana because of everything that's happened. Because there was a comment that Lala made something about how it's like that she got cheated on now. People are treating her like she's God or something. Or now she acts like
it's like why is
something like that?
That you all of a sudden become God?
Yeah, it was something like that. She said, and it's like, and I think I could see Lala getting jealous of something like that over because like she wasn't quite as close to Ariana like the other girls were. So, but I think it also stems off the fact that she wanted more validation and more sympathy because of her situation with Randall. But the thing is, with Randall, it's like, I mean, I definitely feel bad for her because that dude is abhorrent, but she full and well knew what she was getting into and trusted to rewrite the story. And Lisa Vanderpump's even pointed this out. So, and I can kind of see where some jealousy is coming, but those are some of my predictions I have that we're gonna see some jealousy emerge from that.
And the whole kiss thing, the supposed kiss with Sheena and Tom Schwartz, I don't think that they kissed at all. I have a feeling that it was somebody else, and somehow another her name or whatever I have a feeling that never happened. That it's going to be one of those things that everyone's like, okay, why is it that no one heard about this and what's going on and this and that, and then it's gonna be poof.
Well, I heard that there's somebody named Mini Sheena who looks a lot like Sheena, and that's
I heard that too.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I did.
So, and I would expect that to be true. And I think that they're smart in the way that they say things where they know they're giving a great soundbite for like kind of clickbait and fodder. Sure. You know,
definitely.
Because even Sheena's like, it's not what you did us, like on her, you know, Instagram commenting back to someone. So I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like this is definitely like a clickbaity thing. But I agree with both of you. I kind of think the same. And it'll be interesting to see how people interact with Tom Sandoval. I know some people that have been on the show in a very ancillary way as like, oh, we work at the restaurant and we're on like kind of almost on like Peter's level of being on the show.
Right.
I've definitely talked to a few people like that who may have like been nicer to Sandoval and are a little bit worried about like what might happen with the show and editing and being associated and being the first person to kind of maybe like accept him into the fold. And I think they potentially maybe did have to have some people who aren't like aren't the top cast members or the most, you know, filmed with people, film with Sandoval, at least in the outset. So he had people to film with. But I guess we'll see how it shakes out. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, same here. I'm curious. But it's like, honestly, though, from a human being standpoint, I feel like they've given him enough shit already. I think it's been like almost a year now.
Right.
And I honestly, sometimes I feel like you have to pick and choose your battles. And I mainly say that because like I've been involved in a situation. It wasn't not a cheating scandal at all. It was something a lot more horrid, a lot worse. But it's like, I never told people, you know, to pick or choose sides or pick or choose like friends. Majority of the people, they already saw that this person was a monster and they just kind of like, you know, kept their distance, whatever. But it's kind of like, I saw where Sheena was at because she was good friends with him for so many years. And then it was just a messy situation. It was really messy. So I don't know. And like Andy said, I think everybody's cheated except for Katie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what, you know, what do you do? I don't know.
No, that's true. And also, I just feel like they're on a show together, so they're kind of stuck together. It's in real life when you can like completely like separate, like, you know, it's great. But like I feel like this is such a manufactured situation where like maybe they wouldn't have talked to him again if they were just able to like kind of wipe their hands clean. But like they have to film with him eventually. Like it's like you have to figure out how you like work that person into your life. And you're absolutely right, they have all cheated. And they all done if you really go back and watch Vanderpump, it's like, whoa, these people are a hot mess. Like,
oh yes, like, I remember that. And then it's funny because I remember like Ariana grew on me in time because I didn't care for the first season she was on there. Well, because of the fact that Kristen wasn't my favorite person either. But until I learned more down the line that Kristen and Tom were cheating on each other, that, you know, she took ownership later on, you know, and had a lot of growth later on about, you know, with everything with her situation and with Tom. Because remember, she was kind of antagonizing Kristen and bullying her at times too whenever she and Sandoval got together. So I didn't really care for her at first, but then she grew on me, and I guess like 'cause she's one of the few people who showed a lot of growth and like likability. So and I think that's what really helped her with this whole thing whenever Scandal broke.
Yeah, I honestly I started watching the old seasons once this all happened because it was one of those shows where like I was in college during its heyday and I wasn't like watching as much Bravo, and I would go back home and I would watch it during like a snowstorm. I remember like binging, and then like you kind of forget what you watched, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm going back. I've done some of season 1, some of season 2, some of season 5 because I wanted to understand why Tom Schwartz wore a muumuu. And so I was like, wait, he literally was wearing muumuus, and my friend's like, yeah, and she's like,
yeah, he's like another one that just makes me scratch my head a lot because it's kind of like, I guess he's that whole like, all shucks demeanor where it's like, but then also here he's like, I heard he's pretty disarming and just really genuinely nice.
I could see that.
But so it's like, that's what his likability comes in at. But at the same time, I mean, he's been in kind of an opposition too, because people automatically associated him with, Tom Sandoval and this whole scandal. And because the parents kind of like, how much did he really know?
Yeah, I think
that's what it was.
He seems nice, but I think also that niceness is like sort of like a smokescreen for like, oh, like I'm like shady as hell, but like you're not going to notice it because I'm giving off this like, oh man,
everything's like, oh shucks.
That's why I was
a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he would do like how I've seen his dynamic with Katie. If I'm looking back at old episodes, is like he would kind of like light the match,
Yes,
and then she would explode, and then he would be like,
do we freeze again?
Oh, sorry. No,
it's okay. No, it's okay.
But yeah, I feel like he would like antagonize, like, but subtly, and he was kind of sure. But then he seems like this like dude that's just like, who would never harm a fly. It's like, no, like I think that's just a cop out, sort of.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because I'm like you're a grown ass dude. Come on with that whole little, oh shucks, oh man, oh wait, oh gee, oh golly. He's got that whole like demeanor, but I mean I've seen so many guys like hide behind that, like they would be just as bad and creepy as the others, but they just had a great way of like having that facade. So it's
100%. And then I think even like with like just like understanding how to do things as an adult, like, in general, like kind of skirting things off to the women, acting like, oh, it's just like, I'm so absent-minded, I didn't like realize, like,
exactly.
That's the energy I get. It's like, no, how to do that. Like she doesn't
right.
Need to do
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So that's the energy I get, man. But well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm Team Ariana forever, though. Team Ariana forever.
Oh, for sure. I love her. So I'm just really happy to see
I'm happy, that like she came out on top. I mean, she took that and ran with it. I'm happy that she did. And you know what? It's sad as it is that she had to go through public humiliation, but had that not happened, she would have never gotten out of that relationship that she should have gotten out of, I feel personally, a long time ago.
Right.
And look at what she's accomplishing now. So
I know, it's like the money that is rolling in and the opportunities that are rolling in and Broadway, like all these things are just so huge for her. So I mean, all's well that ends well, and Tom Sandoval, we know who he is now. Did you all see that Gypsy Rose got out of jail today?
She did.
Yes. You didn't know that?
I knew she was getting out, but she got today. Wow.
Did you all follow that?
Yeah, I do. The reason,
yes,
my main reason for following it is because she's from down in Bayou. She's from Louisiana.
No way! I knew it was somewhere. Okay, I knew that she was from Louisiana at one point or something. Like I forgot, but then they moved after Katrina or something like that.
Yeah, after Katrina, she and her mom had moved. They moved. Was it Missouri?
I think so.
I think it was Missouri. They moved, and I think it was a couple times though. But yeah, that was the main reason why they left. And oh my God, I saw it was a few years ago. I think it was HBO had did this really great documentary.
I remember that, yes.
Oh, it was good. It was so good. And it was one of the relatives, they talked about her mom, and they were like, they were like they wanted to flush her ashes down the toilet or whatever. I don't know if they actually did, but they said that like they said her mom was just like a horrible human being or whatever, just very manipulative. But you can see that it was insane. But I remember a long time ago hearing about it, like when it first happened. And because it was some friends of mine that were talking about it. They're like, they were like, did you see the girl's dad though? They were like, he actually wasn't a bad looking guy.
No, like, he really wasn't.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he was
kind of it was kind of a head scratcher there.
Yeah.
Like, how did he end up with her at some point?
But it made sense that when they talk about like their history, it's like she's a manipulative person, and I think she was older than him too.
Yeah, she was older than him. I remember that.
She's a master manipulator, and like I remember her siblings. None of them got to go to college except for her. She got a car. Like she was getting all the things, and the mom really coddled her. And it was like, oh, she has a heart murmur. She can't help you clean, or she can't do this, or she can't do that. So the mom kind of like, but she kind of had a beneficial Munchausen by proxy with her mom, because her mom was just like, oh, she doesn't have to clean anymore. She has a heart murmur. But oh my God, poor Gypsy Rose, like she lost all of her teeth for the most part because of whatever medicine she had her on that she didn't need to be on. And to have a feeding tube put in your stomach and all these horrible surgeries, it really is like torture to do that to
it is. Yeah,
sure.
She was tortured, but just what blows my mind is the fact that how did this go on for so long and for so many years, and doctors and stuff like not catch that there was something wrong. And because didn't she say she had cancer? The mom said she had cancer.
So.
And that's what just like it just baffles me. But I don't know. It was wild, but yeah, I followed it for a long time.
Yeah,
I felt so bad for her. I mean, and it seems like she married somebody new in prison. I haven't, like, through a pen pal.
Yeah, I think so.
Situation.
Yeah, I believe she did. Yeah, I haven't
been able to find a photo of him or anything, because there was another guy she was engaged to, and then she's like marrying this guy. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what she does with her free life. I feel like the world is very much on her side. The only thing that makes me kind of sad is the guy who did kill her mom. I feel like he was autistic, and like I just
I
know he killed someone, which is horrible, but it does make me feel like he just was he mentally in a place where he could have been thinking about that decision rationally. And I don't know if his mental health was he has a life sentence, so it's kind of
I know, it's
great
so
to
crazy.
see her free, but it's also like that part kind of like always is like a mind fuck for me, where I'm like, oh, like why do I kind of feel like maybe he shouldn't get life? But then it's like also like he did murder someone, so I don't know how she would have escaped her mom otherwise. Like she tried to escape once.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky and a sticky situation, but it's like I was wondering the same thing, but I also read that I think a lot of her family members are afraid in a way of Gypsy being out, because they said that while she was in, I don't know how true this is, I'm trying to remember where I read it, but they said that she didn't want to get psychological help while she was in prison, while she was locked up, and they believe she needs it, which I think she definitely needs it after going through the trauma that she did. So I think that was their fear. She didn't want it, and they're hoping that when she comes out that she gets it. So
I would really, really hope so, because that entire situation that she dealt with growing up is so like abnormal and insane.
Right?
And like the mom, like the one time she escaped, like chained her to her bed for 2 weeks or something. And like, oh my God, it was like a total like messed up situation. Imagine pretending that you couldn't walk because like your mom's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to walk soon. The mind fuck of being like, I'm not gonna be able to walk. And then you actually can walk, but you're like having to pretend you can't walk. That would be wild.
Right. And then having to pretend that she was like a lot younger than what she really was.
Exactly. But remember, like, Tom was still up, but for the longest time, like the Facebook posts were still up, whatever.
Oh, I remember that.
I think it was her mom's Facebook account. People were kind of like, asking like, hey, where are you? And I hear from you. And people were commenting, and she said somehow it's like that we killed that bitch or whatever. And Gypsy responded, said,
yeah, I remember.
And it was like, and last time I checked, just maybe just a few years ago, it was still up. And it's just crazy to go back and see that.
they've gotten so good at scrubbing people's pages within 24 hours now. Like if there's like some sort of crime, like get on the Facebook and like take every screenshot you can, because you know
That's
if
true.
if you're a detective like
Mhm.
us, you know.
Right? I'd imagine you could find on Reddit though if it's been scrubbed, but that's been just insane. But
I remember that because I remember I looked it up after I listened to an episode of Sword and Scale about it years ago, and then I had looked it up, and sure enough, because I think Mike Boudet even like mentioned it being on Facebook, and that's when I looked, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, it was still there. It was insane.
God, I can't believe that that's still up. Yeah, they definitely highlighted it in one of the documentaries I watched, because I had like read about the story, but I hadn't watched any of the documentaries. So I was like, oh, she's getting out of prison. Like, let me watch this. And literally, so it's all like fresh in my mind. And it was like she wrote the Facebook posts so somebody would go and find her mom. She didn't want her to be like laying there. That whole thing was nuts. I also don't know how she ever would have escaped. Like, I just don't know how she could have probably tried to get help, but it seemed like her mom was like monitoring everything so closely that how would she even be able to ask?
Yeah, she like controlled the hell out of her. It was really sad situation. And you kind of think now, like, where would she be? Like, would she have ever gotten out of it had her mom not died? Like, it's
that one's a crazy one. And you know what? The other one I'm excited for the second part of is the Natalia Grace one. Have you guys been following Natalia Grace?
Oh yeah, so I didn't see the whole. I saw part of the first documentary. I didn't see the whole thing though. But so it has me so baffled. But it's like, so were the parents abused, like the adopted parents, where they were abusing her when they figured out that she was older than what she was? I just had trouble following it.
Because like I heard a little bit about it, but because I didn't really delve into that one. But I've been hearing bits and pieces of everybody telling about how insane it's been.
Well, I mean, she has dwarfism, so she came over from the Ukraine, or I think it was the Ukraine or Russia, somewhere in Eastern Europe. And you know, essentially like they abandoned her. They left her in a house, like, because they said she was like, you know, homicidal and crazy and threatening their kids and all these things. But there's a very similar movie plot, this movie, The Orphan, and like it was just like negligent, or that's what it seems like. And it seems like she actually was a child, and like because like she had dwarfism, it like seemed like she had trouble like even like kind of lifting things and like with mobility and stuff. So like to leave like a kid that's maybe like 10 or 12 alone and just abandon them in this house, like, was actually pretty wild. And so anyway, this new episode's gonna be interesting because she confronts the adoptive father face to face.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And so he seemed like, from what I saw in the documentary, he got off scot-free. Nobody was charged with anything. But from what I've seen, it seems like the parents are a little questionable. And I was a little bit like, you know, like these seem like questionable people, like, you know.
Yeah, something I think I left off where, because the parents split up, right? I think that's about where I left off at. The parents split up, and then and I think like the dad was like, I think basically trying to like capitalize off of everything, but he was like still abusive towards her. It was I remember I didn't finish it, but it was, I think I just kind of, I was confused. I didn't know what to think. I was like, however she was being treated, it was wrong. It was totally wrong and terrible. But I was like trying to figure out, I was like, is she a dwarf or is she a child? Like I was so confused. I didn't know.
That one was another wild one. That's definitely, we'll get more info on it in the new year. But oh my gosh,
I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we had some pretty, like, I mean, like, especially in the news, like how was things that we're talking about here, that there's been a lot of crazy stuff. And then like, that submarine that imploded in June, the summer, all those people that died from that, and how sad that was. And what I always think about is the guy who was fired, who was working for that dude, and why we tell him over and over again, like, do not do this anymore, keep getting it, and he's like, you're fired. And I can't imagine what goes through his head every day, be like, I told him, and look, people died, you know.
Completely negligent. I have a friend that works in submarines, and like I was like, well, would you ever like take a submarine that deep? And she's like, not like one like that. Like that's like, that was like a death capsule. Like that was so irresponsible. That was an accident waiting to happen. Like there's a submarine that like I think James Cameron took down to that depth. Was a one-person submarine. It was a $10 million submarine. And like I guess there are ways to safely be in that much pressure in a submarine. Potentially. I personally have no interest in going in a submarine.
No, me either. I've met a few people like in the Navy that they actually, that's their jobs, is that they actually live in submarines and they do that. And I don't know how they do it. I'm like, how do y'all do it? Like, how do y'all not go crazy? But they told me, I think they have to like go through like this whole like psych evaluation for a while before that makes sense. They do. It does make a lot of sense.
They going like that deep, or like they like how deep are they going in these? Oh my god. Oh my God.
Exactly. Like, because they'll be under there for like months at a time, and it's just, I'm like, no windows, no sunlight, no getting out. Yeah, because this girl,
would lose it.
Her brother was he was a naval officer, and he was on a subs, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm like, how do you do it? And he's like, it's not for everybody. I'm like, no, clearly it isn't for everybody.
Yeah, and I have to imagine you probably don't have a ton of space.
Yeah, it's like he said that they made like they would have enough to like do like activities and stuff, enough room in a way, but it was still small. But it was big, but like small, I guess you can say. It was not a ship.
You're in a confined space, like it's confined. I could never. That was terrifying, and also there was such a rumor mill around it that people thought like all these different things, and it was crazy to see like all the different internet rumors that were emerging.
Like that's some that they said that I think killer whales had I think had something to do with it imploding. Like there were so many stories.
Of course somebody brought orcas into it. I feel like 2023 was the year of orcas. Like
I'm like, this is the year like whales are being blamed for everything. It seemed like I'm like, what in the world?
So better have to deal with SeaWorld. Why can do that?
I know. I'm like, they're just trying to live their life, and everyone's bringing them into celebrity news and pop culture and drama. I'm like,
okay, but really, they're fierce as hell. Like, I don't know if have seen this, but I went to South Africa like last August, or not like last August 4th, and so anyway, they said that they do the diving with the great whites there. They do the cages, and so anyway, they've had less great whites, and it's because the orcas have learned how to attack the great whites, and they do it in such a way they just like to eat their liver. It's like this fatty part of them.
Oh wow.
And the orcas have driven the great whites out of South Africa. Like you can go online and Google it, like, and read articles.
I did not know that.
The orcas are the real like serial killers of the ocean for sure.
Oh yeah.
It makes sense. They're called killer whales. That's so fascinating.
That is really cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was definitely insane.
Like I said, any other so like what a story, anything that's been on your mind this year that's been like
big story that's been on my mind? Oh, just what I found fascinating honestly was Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny dating, and then just as quickly as they were dating an official, they were quickly over. that came out of nowhere.
My theory is that she gets tired of men after like a year or something, or like about 9 months to a year. Her relationship's not really that public, but I also feel like that she just kind of don't really hear about after it's kind of public. Like, okay, I'm tired of you. I'm done.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I feel like she just comes off to me as somebody who's not like super emotional or affectionate, and she doesn't. She seems like she's kind of like almost like a little bit like not avoidant, but like where she would want her own little bubble of space, and like I feel like. Whereas I feel like him and Kylie seem a little bit more like affectionate, and I feel like Kendall to me, like I feel like she lives in like a museum almost, like where she's just like
I definitely get that vibe. Sure. Yeah. That's more introverted and more like because Courtney's a bit introverted too, but Kendall's even more kind of like like I definitely see similarities between, but Kendall's kind of more like I'm really gonna do what I want, and I'm not gonna like where I think Courtney I think would be a little more emotional and having a tougher time with it, but Kendall's kind of like, I really don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do what I want anyway.
And I always did get that vibe from Kendall. Yeah.
Yes. And then I heard because I like listened to Demois and saying stuff outside that before, like whenever the rumors about her Bad Bunny breaking up, that she was talking about what's his name again?
Devin Booker.
So I don't know if if maybe like she's interested in him again or something, but And I think someone mentioned too on like had sent to her that someone think that you knew him or something like that, so that if it happens that he'd probably definitely date her again.
You know, I think they looked great together. Devin Booker is a good looking guy, but it's just so funny. Yeah. Like again, Kendall's so private that it's like I feel like we kind of know like the dynamics between like Kylie and her boyfriends, and they were like, oh, that guy's like seems pretty chill. Like that guy's maybe like cheating on her a little bit. Like, you know, like we get that like tea with Kylie. With Kendall, I always feel like it's so under wraps. And now I feel like Kylie's taking a page out of Kendall's book because I feel like the Timothee Chalamet relationship has been a lot more private.
Oh yeah.
And funnily enough, I was at the Bel Air Hotel for like a birthday dinner, and they were there at the same time.
Oh, really?
But that hotel is so like good at keeping things under wraps, like and keep like it's such a like high-end hotel that I feel like they had a little bungalow upstairs or something, and probably were like, you know, not being seen. I mean, I didn't, and my friend was staying there for his birthday and he didn't even see them once. And he was around the grounds and stuff. I was only there for dinner and stayed a bit after dinner, but yeah, I mean, they keep their relationship very under wraps. I don't know if you saw that it was Lynn and Barker posted a photo and then Kylie and Timothy were in the back at.
I did see that from the Christmas party. Yeah, Christmas Eve party.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was going to be there because I saw that I heard that he was in LA the day before, so I'm like, he's definitely gonna go to that party.
Yeah, I heard he was at the party.
But over some of my friends who like I discuss pop culture with all the time with, they didn't believe at all for a second that they were really together. But I'm thinking, I'm like, no, and I'm like, these stories are too consistent, and because that's my first. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff from Demois, which is like, well, I feel like it's one of my favorite things ever. Like, I love what she does, and so like that's how I found out about it first, and then. But then there's also rumors that they've actually been like kind of talking or like dating each other since I think like New Year's Eve of last year. So there's speculation that I wouldn't doubt it.
I get the vibe that they're really into each other when I see photos.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna get married. I think eventually they will. And at first it was such an odd pairing to me because she was with Travis Scott for so long. But then it's like when I look back at the show she had for a little bit, what was it, Life with Kylie?
Yeah.
When I looked back at that show and you got to see her personality, even though you didn't see a whole lot of her personality because she's more contained than her sisters are, but it made sense. Like when I thought about who she really is as to what she portrays and stuff, I was like, it makes sense to me. She does seem like someone who would date, like he totally seems like her type.
Oh, sorry, it was frozen for just a second.
Oh, no, I was saying that I feel like from seeing her own life with Kylie and just kind of seeing like who she is, and she would talk about how she really is compared to like what her perception is out in the public. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like their relationship now makes a whole lot of sense to me. It's like I'm like, all right, I'm like, yeah, that's her type.
Now for me, from like what was interesting is that for me, it's like, I mean, from what I've known Timothy to be into, I wasn't surprised at all. Because it's like, I mean, a lot of people tend to like, I guess someone said this on Reddit the other day. I was reading, I thought it was really interesting and it made sense. They said that the thing was that Timothy fans, I think are losing a shit over it still because one, some of them are just like, you know, absolute batshit, but then two, it's kind of like they have in their mind that he's just kind of like almost like a manic pixie dream boy and just like this art house kid, you know, so kind of think, you know, imagine that he'll be some intellectual type, you know, and you know, kind of like a manic pixie dream girl type, you know, like twee girl. But then it's like, but he prefers his Instagram baddie types, and that's what kind of
that's.
I think people sounds like that. They like his fans kind of like that. It's like I think because it's like they can't cope with the fact that they're seeing who Timothy is in reality versus who they think he is.
Right.
And to me, it's like where they made sense because I'm like, Kylie's not his type, and I'm like, yes, she is. She's absolutely his type, but. For me, it took me a while. Like I couldn't wrap my mind around her being with him, but I mean, they seem really into each other, and sometimes it's some a little different than it tends to work. So
yeah, no, I agree.
They're definitely like an odd couple at first, but now I'm like kind of like I kind of ship it. And I don't know if you all watched The Sex Life of College Girls, the show that Timothée Chalamet's sister is in. It's on HBO. It's really good.
I didn't even know that she was his sister until just recently.
But she is so like on that show, she's so awkward and like kind of like a geek. And like I always envision her like at like a lunch like with Kris Jenner and like the Kardashians, and like she is like such a clash like to that energy. That I'm just like thinking of Timothy's family as like more bookish, like more like kind of like maybe East Coast, and then like the Kardashians who are so LA and Hollywood. Like,
Right.
I'm like, I need Andy in a camera. I want to see it.
Oh my gosh,
for sure. But yes, but they're like, it's like the family always fascinates me. I think they're always going to be in the news and stuff too, and like how, and like with Chloe and Tristan, like are they or aren't they? And like I mean, I think they might be kind of working on getting back together, and
I think they
it
are.
is what it is. I mean, like I will say, I feel like that she's probably the most down to earth of them to the other families, so I don't give her too much heat for that. And then, I mean, I kind of get it. 'Cause, I mean, she's going through the most scrutiny, I think, of all of them, but I think she deserves it the least. And it's like Tristan just needs to, like, I mean, and he knows. I think maybe with his mom passing away, I think he'll open up new perspective for him. I hope so, but I mean, like I said, I mean, it's her choice when it comes down to it, though. But one thing too, I will say is that also like seeing Kim leaning into being single for a while.
Yeah,
because so many people like they rush into relationships and stuff, and she hasn't done that, and she doesn't want to, and I like seeing that in her.
Yeah, I think she's in like a secretly I hate men era where she's just like, I'm not doing it. And like I understand like where that's where she is, where she's just like, I'm focusing on my kids and my career.
100%.
Yeah. And also like I feel like the damage control of having Kanye as your, ex-husband is probably a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it. I feel for her. I think we froze a little bit.
One sec. Did you see that he alluded to North like tearing up the furniture just so she could see him?
He did, yeah.
I didn't see that. I must have missed it.
Yeah, it was on TMZ. Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, he did. So he basically alluded to like the fact that I think that Kim was trying to keep her away from Kanye, and that she kind of flipped out. That's what I picked up on. And that she flipped out and like tore the couches up and stuff, and because she wants to see her.
And you know what? Like, she's a kid, and like, oh, the poor thing, like, doesn't understand that her mom's probably trying to protect her because I think he needs to like maybe get out of the spotlight for a minute, actually go into like inpatient treatment where he can get on like a routine with whatever medicine he needs because he's clearly unwell.
That's really sad to see. 'Cause, I mean, good night. It's just that. It just was really sad because it's like I went from like rooting for him to being like, this man has really lost it and offended and hurt so many people and doesn't care.
And that's
hurting himself and his family, doesn't care. And I mean, obviously he's probably got some there's alleged mental illness going on, but it's just he needs some kind of help, and I hope he gets it. I really do.
Me too. It's hard to watch, and also I do worry about Bianca, his wife. I just looks so...
I'm like petrified for her.
Oh, she just like the outfits are really like humiliating, I think, and like I know he's very controlling about outfits and stuff like that, and I just heard so many whispers of he doesn't want her to speak or like things like that, and it might be all driven by like a mental health crisis he's going through, but it just seems like even in the rants that we see, it's like he's so not tethered to like reality almost.
No, not at all.
And I worry for those kids. I did just see that all of them were with him and Bianca, and even like fans were rushing up. It was like he didn't have adequate security. I was like, my God, like you have these little precious children that are going to be traumatized.
I know.
So I do feel for her. I really do. I feel for Kim in that regard because I think she probably goes through a lot in her day to day, but hopefully she'll meet somebody nice. We love a good.
I know, because there were rumors. Yeah, I know. I hope so too, because there were rumors circulating that she was that she and Odell Beckham Jr. had something going on. But I think it seems like as quickly as those rumors were starting to kind of get off the ground, like it seemed like that had ended. Yeah. So
who would you two set Kim Kardashian up with if you could any celebrity or even a business person?
I had someone on mine recently and it escaped on mine, but I'm probably sure I feel like it's gonna come up at some point. But honestly, I think who she might actually be on par with. I mean, I don't even know if we see anybody more, but Derek Jeter, I think I can see that. I think.
Yeah.
I don't even know what his status is, honestly.
But, that
I
makes
think he might be married, but like I could see a Derek Jeter type.
Like A-Rod or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I don't know about Aaron. I could definitely see Derek Jeter. I don't know, like you said, I don't know his relationship status. I think he is married. I can't remember, but athletes seem to be her go-to. Like that was always her go-to before. It seemed before she married Kanye. So I would think, golly, the funny thing was Odell is actually who I had in mind, who I would probably put her with. Then when that came out that there was like whispers that they were seeing each other, I was like, oh shit! I was like, that makes sense. And yeah, I was trying to get a scoop on that, but because I have a good friend of mine who's actually really close friends with Odell, but I think they kind of falling out over the course of a year. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna find anything out that way. But no, that's that is I like Derek Jeter. I wonder if he's single or not, but I think that would be good. I think Chris was trying to get the whole Tom Brady thing to happen, and it before it could happen. I think that just kind of.
I think she needs to step away from athletes and musicians. I think she needs to because the problem with that is their jobs. It's like they have to travel so much. Yeah. They have to constantly be away, and then there's like temptation because they're like these big stars, right? And so it's like, and they're getting probably inundated with DMs and all the things. So it's like the temptation of it all. What I think she needs to take a page out of Serena Williams' book, and Serena is with. Like she's with, I think his name is Alex Ohanian, but he actually, I think, is an investor in StreamYard, which we're using right now.
Is he really?
He's big in tech. I want to say he ran like Reddit or something.
Reddit, I believe. Yes, Reddit.
But he's such a successful person, but you can just tell that he like looks up at her admiringly and is like she's like this like amazing person, but he's amazing in his own right, just in like a business sense. And he's classy. He has a lot of money. He has like that panache because he's running such a big brand, but he's not necessarily like dealing with the same pressures as like a famous person in the sense of like an athlete, a musician, an actor would. So I think I want to see her go veer towards like a tech executive, but like not an Elon and definitely not like a Jeff Bezos because like yuck, But like I like think Serena Williams has a really good marriage, and I think she gets to be the star,
for sure.
And I feel like I don't want to be wrong in a year, but the guy seems really like trustworthy and like he just like adores her,
Yeah. But speaking of who I feel like is the same way, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and I would have never thought in a million years about it, but
it makes sense.
But they make total sense together.
100% makes sense. Yeah, I'm really rooting for them, and it's so funny because it's like I've never been a fan of Taylor Swift's music. I could never get myself to like really get into it, but I am a huge fan of who she is as a person. Like I love who she is, and it's like who can I mean, I feel like you would have to be like an idiot to like not like her.
Taylor's wonderful. She's great. Do you ever worry though that Travis Kelce would? Because I remember like his ex-girlfriends came forward a little bit in the beginning. And that's where it's like I have like 70% of me that's so happy that wants it to be perfect, that wants to be this fairy tale. I want like a ring by spring for my girl. Like I'm like so excited for her.
I think I definitely think they're gonna get married this year. I think it's gonna happen very soon.
And I'm like, I want the wedding, I want the baby, I want to see it all. I want to see all of this for Taylor Swift. But then there's that 30% of me that like, because those women kind of like were like, he was like maybe like not the greatest guy or whatever, it like makes me worry. But then I'm like, well, maybe if you are just handed like the most perfect like relationship like in person, like that is going to make your life like literally incredible. Then maybe you become better for that person. I don't know, but
I think it's gonna happen with her because that happens a lot of relationships, and I feel like that he knows it's not gonna get any better than that. And
that's the best he can get.
I feel like he's like one of the only guys that she's ever dated who actually liked, and he's the only one I feel like that she actually who actually matches her energy, and I feel like who actually was okay with her level of fame. Like I don't think like her level of fame does not bother him.
No, not at all.
And a lot of they just seem like a perfect match for each other. And I mean, she's different. Like again, kind of with the Kylie and Timothee comparison, where it's kind of like she's different from what he normally would date.
Very different. But I wasn't surprised though. Remember I told you? I said I've been around.
Happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was around I was around guys that played football in college because I was an equipment manager for our football team. That's actually how I knew Jason Alexander, Brittany's ex husband. But anyway, yeah, it's so funny how everything kind of tangles in together. But it's so funny because you see these guys with like this vibe and like this swag and stuff, and it's like they date these certain type of girls, but when it comes down to like when they're ready to settle down and get married, it's like they will veer off completely to what you're normally used to seeing them with. And that's why I was like, the minute I saw that he was shooting a shot at her, I was like, oh, that's over with. I said, that's a done deal. And I was like, they are going to go on a first date if they haven't already. But I feel like they were playing everybody the whole time. I feel like they've been seeing each other for longer than what the world knew.
That's what I think.
And then they just came up with the storyline to kind of like put it together. That's what I really think that.
Oh my God. I mean, Karma is the guy in the Chiefs coming straight home to me. That was the best. When she's saying that to him. Yeah, I mean, honestly, God only knows. And, again, it's like the part of me, the 70% is so happy. The 30% is also like, he likes the spotlight. Does this mean that he's like a narcissist? I'm like, oh,
yeah, understand.
Like, I
get
valid
thing to think about,
I get worried, but you know what? Hope.
I think we froze up a little bit.
Sorry about that.
No worries, you're good.
But I think hopefully he is the perfect dude for her, and he is just matching her energy, and he is just comfortable with the spotlight, and just so proud of her and all the things.
That's what.
Again,
yeah,
I want it. I want it for her.
Yeah, me too. And it's which is so funny that like I'm actually like invested in a relationship for saying I'm not. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of who she is, so I'm actually going to give her music a shot. Some people gave me recommendations of albums to try out. I think it was Folklore or something. Somebody told me to listen to that one.
That one I think would be more our speed.
I think so. Yeah. So I'm gonna try that one probably tonight while I work. But no, it's just like Blair said, I feel like they match each other's energy. And I like him a lot compared to all the other guys that she's ever been involved with. And like I as soon as I found I was like, fuck yeah. I'm like, that's what and then she's letting loose, she's being herself, she's having fun. And I'm like, and that's what I love seeing. And I'm like, that's a woman that's, she's got her man's got her, and they're gonna get married, have their babies and everything. So it's And
it's interesting too, the visibility of this relationship. He's showing her off. He's like proud to have her at the games, and he's showing her off and not hiding her. And I feel like the visibility of this relationship just proves to me that like the men in the relationship must have been driving like we have to be secretive and hide this, which like is shady in its own way. It's like, that
makes sense.
Like that's kind of shady for a guy to want to be hidden. Like I understand some people want privacy, but also like some people are like, maybe DMing 5 other girls and don't want,
right.
Yeah, stuff out there. So
exactly, because who knows what NDAs they've got these girls signing. So
and also, if anyone cheats with Travis Kelce, if any woman does, they know damn well he's in a relationship because this is so visible.
Exactly. It's everywhere. Exactly. They're probably doing it for clout. They're probably trying to pursue him for clout because that's how.
Yeah.
Because people are people, And, but speaking of ancient men, we had a lot of that go down this year too. Like Danny Masterson got sentenced to 30 years to life. So I'm really happy about that for sexual assaulting 2 women. And one was actually the wife of what's his name? Cedric Big Star from the Mars Volta. His wife was one of them.
Oh really?
Yeah, she's one of the victims. And he's been very vocal about that for years now. So I
didn't know that.
Yes. And but what really bothered me was how like Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher were just like advocating for him, and
they got busted.
Yeah,
I think they thought they could do it without anybody finding out, and then it came out, and their careers are, if they even still have careers left, because it's not good.
Well, she did a whole ass movie about not being believed as a victim of.
Exactly, I saw that.
But she did a whole movie about being a victim that was not believed.
Yeah.
Like in the past year I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah, it's called His Girl Alive. That was really good. I saw that. And
fucking movie, Mila. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And like, also like, what can Scientology be out in 2024? Like, how does it even exist anymore?
Exactly.
Like, I just don't know.
Good question. Good question.
I just know. And it's so weird because there's so many people in Hollywood with ties to it. That have like, are in acting that, were born into it. Like, even that girl Chloe, I forget what her last name is, on
Chloe
SNL.
Fineman?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
her parents
yeah.
are in it. And like
Mhm.
it's unclear
But
if
she
she's
wrote
still
about it.
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's definitely
And,
done some seminars and stuff. So it's just interesting. It's like people are like hiding in plain sight that are involved in it. And it's the way that things were shut down, just kind of reading through the testimonies and like what these women went through, like the way that like a rape situation could be held, like could be handled internally, and then the person just gets off scot-free is like wild to me. And
Right,
so many things
exactly.
go on and people just get away because,
It's
you know.
yeah, it blows our mind. And not only that, but where in the actual fuck is David Miscarriage's wife?
Mm-hmm.
That is my number one question. Like, where is she? Because
Probably not
nobody.
alive.
I think her name is Shelly or Shelby Miscavige or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shelley,
Where
yeah.
the hell is she? And also like the whole Sea Org thing. I mean, I don't know. I've watched a few of the shows on it, and just them having to escape that like Sea Org
Yeah.
place and getting chased out. Like it's wild. Like it's almost being held against your will at that point, you know? And it's just I can't believe it exists. I really cannot believe it exists in the year of 2023, and I'm surprised it will continue to exist in 2024. But I've always wondered if they have like secrets on people or how they kind of keep certain people. I've definitely heard that they have
100%.
That's the only thing
They have
that's the only
to.
thing that makes the most sense to me.
And they've got so much money, it's ridiculous.
And it's like I'm so glad that Leah Remini got out because I always absolutely loved her. And not only is she getting out, but she is being vocal and she is not like
she's fighting
and like she's suing them and just not backing down. And I absolutely love that for her. And you know, it's funny because I didn't even know until like about a year or two actually at least Marie Presley got out, rest in peace. Because like she actually got out and she actually was helping other people get out like privately.
Yeah, she did get out.
I didn't even know she was in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
she and Priscilla were both in for a long time. And
yeah, they were in for a
I
long
don't know
time.
about Priscilla. I don't know, but Lisa Marie got out for sure. But
was Priscilla in it as well?
I think so. Yeah,
yeah, I believe they both were.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
God.
It's
they
gnarly.
really got their claws in some people. That's wild to hear though. Like, because it's just, I mean, the whole thing is wild. And when you look at the history of it and the guy that started it, he was like so unwell and just, it's just crazy what some people are into. But the way that it is such an oppressive, almost like system and things can be hidden in it was so beautifully illustrated in the Danny Masterson of it all, that he got away with this for so many years and went unchecked. And you know, I'd heard a lot of whispers of like that 70s show guys and like some weird stories about them, and I definitely think that a lot of things went unchecked in the early.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of stuff like when they were hiding.
But yeah, I will say I'm really happy though that I feel like there's also justice for Topher Grace and all this because the way the rest of the cast iced him out because he knew that Danny Masterson wasn't any good, and it's like the scene that he's getting redemption and all of this that makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's like the one good guy standing alone, but it's also crazy because Mila Kunis, even in her apology video, looked so angry.
She looked
pissed.
She looked like she wanted to tear somebody's eyes out.
And there was
she knew that their career was over.
And there were some weird like things between her and Danny, in my opinion, and some weird photos and some weird quotes. Yeah. And it's like she was brought into that show at such a young age. And it's also like, you know, you met Ashton, who was much older than you, and like they were placing bets about kissing you when they were 18 and you were 14. Like, you know, like
that was horrible. And Danny was he was like the mastermind behind that whole thing, that whole plot. And I was like, well, there you go.
You know, I mean, he told on himself for sure. But I think because she was inundated with all that at such a young age, she probably like doesn't even realize that, or is coming to terms with things maybe having been wrong, that if she admits that it's wrong, well, was my husband involved, you know, like, or in that behavior or whatever. So it must be a lot to unpack. And I think child actors and actresses just like kind of have a rough go because it's such a
true.
Yeah, they definitely have a rough ride.
belongs.
Oh man, but no, it's Oh, that was crazy. But I'm glad that he's locked up, and
Yes.
hopefully there'll be some more people locked up because I could start naming them off.
Because I'm like, let's see, like, Cassie, how she got Diddy, like she sued
Oh,
him.
I was so proud of her.
Okay, but that was nuts. The Diddy of it all was nuts. That was like,
yes, absolutely.
Is he an actual serial killer? Because it seems like people have died. Like, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
like this is crazy.
Mhm.
Like Kid Cudi's car getting blown up. Like,
Yeah,
the different things. What? Like, it was crazy.
And what makes so much? Do you remember how Kid Cudi had that whole mental breakdown? I wonder if
Yeah, I
that had
remember
anything to
that.
do with it.
I wouldn't doubt it. I forgot about that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like
Mhm.
he has been a very dangerous person to many people, and the
Mhm.
fact that they settled outside of court tells you everything you need to know. He didn't want
Oh,
that
it does.
court.
Yep.
And it happened the very next day, like
Mhm.
immediately.
And I
And he
mean,
was like,
people started coming forward, and like so far, I think it's like what 4 other women have
Yeah.
already filed lawsuits.
The former security guard and
Mhm.
what was that artist Jaguar Wright? I've been seeing stuff on TikTok here for like for a while, but she's been saying stuff for like a couple of years now that
Mhm.
and just like and it
Yeah,
seems
she
like
has
it
some
seems
videos.
like it tracks, you know, and
Mhm. And Aubrey O'Day, people could say what they want about her, but I never heard Aubrey O'Day tell a lie. And
ever, yeah.
she was on Call Her Daddy. And I mean, she just opened up about that, about Trump and his sons and just all these things. And it's like, I believe everything she said because she wasn't holding back.
Especially if she was an aspiring lawyer before she was on Making Man.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
wait, I have to listen to this Call Her Daddy episode. I didn't realize she went.
Yeah,
She was on it.
Yeah,
Find it.
Yeah,
Yes.
find it and listen to it because it's very educational.
Very insightful.
It's very, yeah. It's I learned a lot, and the fact that she went and she said things that she did, but everything she said just made so much sense. And I was like, I knew it, and then the whole Diddy of it all, that coming out was just kind of like, yep, she was right. And even like one of those, I think, old security guards was even talking about how he wanted to he was trying to traffic Danity Kane, and she was basically kind of alluding to that. Like that's but there was a lot, but oh yeah.
You know, I've heard about stuff like that with Danity Kane and the Pussycat Dolls, like both of those.
Yeah, Pussycat Dolls. I remember hearing that. Yes.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
So it's interesting, like, you know, it's funny, like I feel like there's always like those rumors that you hear and those blind items, but like you know, and you wonder like, oh, is this a conspiracy theory or is this real? But then something like Diddy comes out and then you realize like, oh, like actually like you know, maybe not as far-fetched as you thought, but do you think that 2024 will be the year that Diddy gets has his reckoning? Do you think that he'll end up being charged with anything, or do you think he's going to get out of it or move to Switzerland or something?
I think he's going to get out of it and he's going to lay low. I think he's going to lay really low. But sadly, I think he's going to get out of it because he's going to like pay people off. Mm-hmm. Unless something happens and they're like doing like this big investigation and they get like enough evidence to like arrest him. But that's the thing with sex crimes too. That's like they're just so hard to prove. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because like you can sit there and go through hell like trying to fight and battle them, and then it's like if someone else doesn't come forward, it's like nothing happens, it's a mess. It's a lot. So I think he's going to hide out for a while.
Gosh, I wonder if he's going to end up having to move to I think it was like there was somebody that moved to Bali. Some people were referencing
Russell Simmons.
Yeah,
that's right. You did, yeah.
But like, I feel like
his daughter like called him out about how like horrible he really is. She put like a video on her Instagram about time like he was screaming at her or whatever, and because he acts like he's this nice, calm, zen dude, but he's another one who's trash.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so crazy. All these people that were on our TVs and back in the early aughts, and now we're finding out that they were all like sketchy as hell. Well, we have another bombshell to look forward to, I think, in the next week with Jeffrey Epstein's list.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. Yes. Yeah, they're going to release the names of like all the staff and I think and his associates or whatever. But I think there's so many. I think they also said, I think from the time it's supposed to come out, I think people had 14 days to like file something or do something to keep their names from coming out. So it's basically like if they speculate that there's something, they can prevent that from happening. So it's it
might not be the big bombshell everybody thinks.
I'm kind of afraid that might be the case. I hope not, but I have a feeling that because obviously it's people with a lot of money, and money, money talks. And
no, I definitely think that Bill Gates' wife divorced him because of the fact that he was probably with some shady shit too. Because
that came out of nowhere. I mean, that divorce came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she's definitely upset about that association. And also, like, Bill Gates would have this like weird vacation once a year with his ex-girlfriend. Like, did you ever see stuff on that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And it's like, what the fuck? Like, if I'm married to someone, they're certainly not going on a once a year vacation with their fucking ex-girlfriend. Like, absolutely not.
No, not at all. Yeah, that was wild.
And people with too much money just weird me out.
They do, right? It's like you just run out of things to be excited about, and I guess you have to do really weird shit or something. I don't know. It's like a weird malignant thing that happened. But I've heard from the list, with the Epstein list, 3 people so far have barred their names, but I don't think they were able to get anyone. I don't think anyone else was able to, at least that I've heard. So, but you have to wonder, those 3 like the 3 like craziest names that would be like, oh my god?
That's what I think. So I 100%, it has to be. I 1000% think so.
But also kind of wonder too, because it's like how any of these people, it could just simply be that maybe they weren't complicit, but that rich people hang out with each other, and sometimes it's like some people are more unsavory than you realize, but then also it's kind of like, you are the company you keep. I mean, at the same time, it's like the truth lies somewhere in the middle. So I'm kind of wondering, what is what,
Well, even Donald Trump, I remember him saying he likes like women, like particularly young women. Yeah. When he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and like that was an interview from a while back, but it's like, it's just interesting because it doesn't mean anyone's complicit, but it's like, okay, did you guys see like a bunch of girls that like you're like questioning their age? Like,
exactly.
What was really going on there? So it'll be interesting to find out, but also like it's crazy because that is just fodder for like the wild like conspiracy theories that are so insane. And I'm like so not about that life. I'm like, oh my god,
I'm not either.
I'm like, the conspiracy theorists will be going nuts, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the next week. Hopefully, it will be a bombshell.
I know. I was so glad you brought that up because that was in the back of my head, and I meant to like put that in the outline because I knew that was coming out soon. So I've been listening to I think her name's Jodine Weber. She's a former like FBI like profiler, I believe, or like investigator. She's really cool. She has a Patreon podcast called Caught in My Web. I think that's the name of it. I started listening to it recently, but she was kind of going like into details about how she can't wait for that to come out, and which she was saying, the things about that. So yes, I'm very, very interested, curious to see how that comes along. But and another mysterious thing, Jamie Foxx this year, he was really, something happened and we still don't know what it was, but he seems to be fine. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, when we were talking about topics today, I saw that and I didn't even realize that this happened to Jamie Foxx. So break it down for me. What's going on with Jamie Foxx?
Okay, so Jamie Foxx he was in the middle of filming a movie with like Cameron Diaz. He had just gotten her on back to acting again, so it was like a really huge deal. And who else is in that movie?
I can't remember.
But they were like in production, like in the middle of production, and then all of a sudden it just turned into he's seriously ill. He's like they wouldn't say what was going on. So a lot of people were assuming that he may have had a stroke because they were basically talking like it sounded like he was on the verge of dying. Like that's
fighting for his life, basically.
Yeah, because I want to say something came out saying that he was fighting for his life. And it's like things just we never knew. And all of a sudden it's like he just appeared like months later, and then he was out on a yacht and stuff, and just he seems to be doing fine.
They said he's doing really well now, but it's like, but however it is, I will say that I admire people in his camp because they've been tight-lipped about that.
Oh yeah.
But some people also theorize, and I mean it's a wild theory that Diddy came after him too for something, probably tried to put a hit on him and it didn't work. But I know this sounds kind of wild, but I heard
Diddy, I believe anything with Diddy now. I am like that. How can you tell me anything? You can tell me the craziest thing, and I'd be like, because after I heard all the things that came out, and then blew up somebody's car, and like I was like, no, that man, anything can happen. I mean, it's interesting. You have to wonder. Well, I guess it would have to be something that he could recover from, like not so quickly, but like quickly enough, and then be like, you know, very like life-threatening. So I would say like maybe like a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah,
I was thinking it was one of those.
I was
two
thinking,
things.
I was thinking it was possibly a stroke. I didn't think heart attack, which that's actually a very good theory. I didn't think about that at all. However, it's like they're like so tight-lipped about it. But I was actually listening to Hollywood Raw this morning, actually watching the podcast, and Dax had said his theory, and I was like, I was like, I didn't even think about that, but he made a lot of sense. He said his theory, his whole speculation is that he feels like he was actually in rehab. And that was like, that makes a lot of sense. He said he feels like something probably could have gone.
Maybe he had an overdose or something, and he was in rehab.
And he thinks that's he said that's to him that makes the most sense, is to like putting everything together. And I didn't think about that, but I was like, oh, it does. And the way he said it and broke it down, it makes a lot of sense. And I was like, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's crazy because like Jamie Foxx to me like seems like I couldn't even envision him like having an addiction somehow. Like I don't know why. Like he just like I don't know. He just always seems like kind of like on the ball and put together. But like I haven't like Googled like pictures of him like out or whatever, like to like see maybe like the side of him that's like when he's not. But yeah, I feel like so many people in Hollywood struggle with addiction that like it would make sense if he had some sort of like quiet addiction or something that like maybe he was able to film, but maybe he overdosed, and like you said, and you know, then it was like, okay, you need to get help for this. Because he's always seemed so put together to me that I'm like, oh, like, you know, but like he's never one that I was like, oh, he's gonna go to rehab. Like usually, like you can clock it where you're like, oh, like,
which is true. Yeah, you can usually see people start to crumble and fall apart, but then there's some people who just hide it so well that it'll blow your mind. Which I've seen that before. Like it's interesting, but yeah, I'm curious. I'm thinking that we'll probably never know, or not know for a long time. Maybe never. Maybe he'll come out with a book, like years down the line, and write about it and release it, kind of like what Britney did, how she released the whole baby.
Oh, that's been a big thing too about her book. I mean, that's been a
that's been huge.
You know what's funny is that my Britney Spears experts over here.
We are. So we're talking about this actually with a friend of ours, Nicole, who is excellent. I went to college with, and she runs like an entertainment magazine now, like locally, and like she does a lot of great work with that. But we were talking about that because of the fact that us being locals from Louisiana, we're talking about how like strangely enough, it's like nobody really talks about her around here ever.
Not anymore.
Really?
And yes, it's kind of bizarre, and she even noticed that too.
She said the same thing. Our friend Nicole, like she was on our podcast a few weeks ago, but she said that she noticed that too. She's like, yeah, it seems like after she had that 5150 hold years ago, that big one, it's like no one really talks about
it, or they defend the family. And there's a lot of people defending the family around here, which
really? Do you think it's because like they know them personally?
A lot of them know personally.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of people, especially people we went to like high school with or college with. A lot of them they knew her personally and grew up with her. Because I even knew her boyfriend that passed away like years ago. Like
I went to high school with him.
That yeah, and he was also like friends with like Jason. Like all it's a small town, so it's like they're all like in that same circle of friends. But yeah, like it's so weird. It's like nobody talks about her, and like Blair said, if they do, it's like they're quick to shut it down, and they're very defensive of her family. And I don't know if it's just a small town thing. I think that has a lot to do with it.
So I've definitely heard a lot of people like where I used to work, because like Jamie Lynn was a regular, and Lynn would come in there sometimes too, and so was Jamie. He was also a regular too, but there were I've definitely heard people in there defend them, and they're defending the conservatorship, and that they're feeling that they shouldn't have been pulled off of it. It's just really sad. I mean, I get some aspects of it, and the fact that I feel like that they probably needed to wean her off of it, and I was getting but it was abusive, and just there's a lot of people who defend them, and it's kind of disheartening. But I will say that whenever I'm like Christmas shopping, a local bookstore actually had her book.
Oh, Bayou Booksellers?
Yeah, shout out to Bayou Booksellers.
Oh yes, we'll give a shout out to them. They're awesome people.
Yeah, they did have a book.
Bayou Booksellers in Hammond, Louisiana, America. Yes. I'm pretty sure they ship. They're really awesome. They're cool people.
Yeah, they had her book there too. When I saw it when it was shopping. But yes, it's very fascinating, interesting. Because nobody really they talked about it all the time for a while, and then the whole 5150. It's like then years later, then it's next to nothing.
That is so wild. Did you all like? If I were to go to like Kenwood, Louisiana, like, do they have like?
I think we froze. I think oh wait, okay, there. Okay, now we're back. It froze for a second. You were starting to ask your question if you went to Kentwood. What happened?
Oh no, you're totally fine. So if I went to Kenwood, Louisiana, is it like, do they have like a Britney Spears museum? Like when I drive through, would it be like home of Britney Spears, or like what's it like?
They did years ago. I don't know if we were talking about that not long ago. They did years ago. I don't know if they still do or not. Because I haven't heard anything about it.
Troy from Beyond the Blondes had asked me if it was still around because he's a really big
Britney fan. I forgot about it until I think we were talking about that with Nicole also.
Yeah, we were.
We were trying to figure out if it was still open because I haven't heard anything about it in years.
But funny enough, her childhood home is actually up on the market again.
Yeah, for like $1 million or whatever. It's not worth that much at all, but it's up for like a whole lot of money.
We should do like a crowd fund for it and make a little Britney Spears museum.
Right.
By her old house. But it's interesting though, like throughout the years we've heard like so many stories. I used to see Jamie Lynn a lot around town. I used to see her often. I saw her mom the most out of anybody. More of my friends knew her mom a lot, but yeah, it's very interesting though. But we heard though too for a long time that she had like some like mental issues that I think they were trying to keep contained, because I knew about her grandmother for a long time.
Yeah.
That her grandmother was possibly like bipolar before they could like diagnose it, or years ago, and how she had committed suicide and everything. So I remember hearing that years and years ago.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that ties into how, like, why her dad is so the way he is when it comes to her and protecting her and everything. So a lot of that makes sense to me.
God, that is wild. I cannot believe you guys are in the belly of the beast. And also, remember when Jamie Lynn was wielding the knife in the sandwich shop? Was that?
Pita Pit.
I used to like that Pita Pit actually closed down about a year and a half ago, something like that. 2 years ago. I used to go there for lunch all the time because I used to work downtown in a real estate taste. Part of we're like a block away from there. I used to go to Pita Pit all the time until like it just closed abruptly not that long ago. But every time I walked there, I was thinking about how it's like. I'm like, okay, so I'm here at a sandwich. I'm like, Jamie Lynn must have circled around back this way and grabbed the knife. And I'm like, I don't know how someone let her back there, but they did.
Oh my God. That is the tour that I wanted of Louisiana. I want to see where Jamie was holding the knife.
Come on down.
I'm going to visit you. We're going to go to Kenwood because I need to see all of the Britney Spears, different historical points of reference. But yeah, I will always love Britney. I'm so glad she's not in a conservatorship, but yeah, I just always rooting for her, and I hope she's okay. And I feel like they put her on so many medicines she didn't need to be pumped with, and she's a poor thing, and she was working like a crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like she wasn't even happy at all. Like while she was doing it, it's sad because she looked great. Like she seemed like she had it all together, but she was not happy. Apparently,
no. Well, and also, I feel like when I've heard her net worth is like 60 million, I'm like, that seems low.
Yeah,
I thought it would be a lot more than that.
That does seem low. Like, I feel like for Britney, I would imagine she would be more like at least in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right. Yeah, that is weird.
Sounds like definitely someone's being taken advantage of still.
I think money was definitely siphoned.
It was obvious though that she was taking care of her family. Like it was oh yeah.
Because like every now and again I'll hear stories, but it seems like every day you hear something new about how it's like that she was with her family again very recently, and that her brother is like she was have a good relationship with him, and
but they were, I know that her mom for her birthday, she and her mom were together, but I think now things aren't good with them all over again. So
isn't Lynn like not supported by her now, and isn't she selling like Roden and Fields or something? Like, doesn't she have another job outside
she was selling Roden and Fields for years?
Yeah, she's been doing that for a really long time.
I don't know if even that's like. I mean, I think she even stopped doing that, or that and even didn't really take off or do too much for a while. Because now like Lesta Hirsch is actually substitute teaching. She used to teach.
Yeah, she's substituting in that like now. And
I can imagine Britney Spears' mom being my substitute teacher. I would scream.
Right.
I would be like,
Oh gosh, and it's so funny. It just brings back so many memories because I remember when Corey, when he played baseball at our school, at our high school, he transferred over because he went to Park Lane with her like her freshman year, and then he went to like another school, Oak Forest Academy. Then he came to Hammond High, like where we went to school. That's how I met him. And it was funny. He was like in a computer lab, and he was one of those, like that was whenever the internet was first out. So you can imagine how long ago this was.
It was like late 90s.
Yeah. And he was in the computer lab looking at all these like pictures of her. And he's like, this is before her boob job. This is before. Oh, wait, this is definitely after. Like, he's like, just talking all loud. You could tell he wanted attention. And so I looked at him and I was like, didn't you date her? He's like, date her. And he's like, oh, fuck her. I was like, oh, God. And he was going on and on. I was like, oh, geez. And then he didn't hold back. Like I said, he liked to talk about it. But I know that he was like a star baseball player for our team, and the team had like a raffle, and like all these people were bringing in things like to get donated, you know, for the raffle, like how you always donate stuff, things get raffled off. Well, the baseball coach came walking in, and he had Brittany's autographed Mickey Mouse Club jacket, her original one, and her Mouse Club ears autographed also. He came in with something else of hers. Remember, it was like on a pink wire coat hanger. It was like her jacket and some other stuff and everything. They were like, dang, they're like,
I think it was like a certificate of authenticity.
Oh, I think that's what it was. Like that, yeah, and like all that to get raffled off. But they actually ended up, I think they're trying to auction it off, but they ended up doing a raffle because actually nobody wanted it.
What?
When he tried to auction it off, nobody wanted it.
Here's an interesting thing. That's why I think that now it makes sense. A lot of people don't talk about it now because a lot of people didn't like her back then. And
I would have paid like $1. I thought you were going to tell me it changed everyone's life. They sold it for $1 million. Like,
yeah, it's so weird. That's why I said it's weird out here. It's so weird.
I told Jamal like a long time ago too. Like whenever she had a Spotify Green Room used to do, is that I mean, rumor has it back then is that Brittany wasn't a nice person by any means. She's changed and become even better and like redeemed herself, especially like once life hit, you know, shit hit the fan for her and like, you know, life was happening. But yeah, it's like the word was out from a lot of people I knew of her, like, or knew her, like she was not a nice person. She is now, but she was not. And
it was sad. You didn't hear any like good things about her. You would hear like nice stuff about like her brother or her Jamie Lynn or her mom, but that was it. But it was, and mostly it was I think more of our friends I think danced with her growing up, like some girls actually who like own studios or whatever now or like took off to different states and like danced all over. But yeah, a lot of people they didn't really have many good things to say about her, which it kind of surprised me. But and then like and the whole thing about her losing her virginity, like she mentioned in her book, like she was really young. We all knew that for a long time too. That was basically common knowledge because, like I said, that guy that her ex-boyfriend from high school. I mean, from like he told me all about that, but that already knew that rumor. But I was like, dang, I was like, he really wants to be like known as that person because he didn't hesitate at all to like just blurt it out. I guess
well, from my memory of Corey was that it's like he didn't like run around bragging about it, but it's like if anybody asked to talk about it. But for the most part, he didn't like. It wasn't like, you know, hey, I'm really sick.
Yeah, that's. But he. It's like it was basically like though he was like, I'll tell you that I dated her without telling you that I dated her, the kind of thing. But he like wanted to make it known because, like I said, he was in the computer lab, like he was out loud, like looking at pictures of her. He wanted to make it known that people that he knew her, and so.
Oh, and this is before the boob job. This is after the boob job.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna come up and ask you about that, and you're pretty.
Exactly. So I knew what he was doing. He was trying to get attention to himself, but yeah, he actually passed away like, oh man, it's been years ago. Yeah, of like a drug overdose, but it was
so sad.
Yeah,
that's horrible. But hey, you know what? He dated an icon, so he left a mark, and he's probably mentioned in the book then, or at least like alluded to.
I haven't read it yet. So it could very well could be. I haven't read it yet or looked at it, but all I know is that I know that Jason was pissed off by it. He was really pissed about the book because there were some things about it that I will say that from what. Oh, so I'll be right back.
It's my dog want to come in.
Aww.
It's a real free fall, but
I love it. My cat is outside meowing.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard him. He was singing to me out there.
Okay. Aww. I'm back. But yeah, it was that was at the Jason and it was really pissed off about the book because there were things that I even remembered from like back in the day where
Hello,
this is so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, no, my cat is doing the same thing at my door. I'm not even kidding you. We're like the animals at the same time. We're like, oh, what are they up to?
Right. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Where we just left off on Britney Spears. And so what else do we have that? What other big things happened in 2023?
There's a lot of people deaths. You know, Lisa Marie Presley passed away, Tina Turner, Matthew Perry, Suzanne Summers, Tony Bennett. Just like big names, which is very sad.
Oh my gosh, and the guy from Parasite, I don't want to butcher his name.
Oh gosh.
Oh
yeah.
And he was only 45, and he was in Soul, and he, he won a bunch of Oscars, I think, for Parasite. He was great in that, but yeah, I think unfortunately he like killed himself.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. Yeah,
which is so sad. It's like somebody can be so like critically acclaimed and have all this like things, but you just never really know what's going on.
Except what the root of that one, I think, is the fact that I think that he was, accused of having, marijuana or something like that or whatever. And stuff like that's like a really big no-no in South Korea. And he was interrogated for 19 hours. And I think they were trying to charge him.
Jeez.
And I think that's probably why, that's what he theorizes why he
it's horrible. Exactly. Come on, it's just a little pot. Jesus.
It breaks my heart because if this happened here, it's like it would have been like,
oh yeah, it would have been no problem. That's crazy. I mean, it's like legalized in so many states now. I'm in Vegas right now. It's fine here. It's fine in California.
Yeah,
I don't know how it is in Louisiana, but
you can get it. Yeah,
you get certain strands of it.
Yeah, you can get like Delta 8, Delta 9, and like just like microdoses. You can get it in like stores.
Yeah. It's so chill here.
Yeah, I know that was so wild.
You forget how like places are so different because it's so free here. And it used to be more of a problem here, but it's like, oh, that's so sad. Well, and 45 is so young. I mean, I wish he had just gotten on a flight somewhere or something and just gone somewhere else.
I know.
Yes,
it's so sad. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that was crazy.
And then you get that, and then like, but I'm curious to see about what's gonna happen next year. Because it's kind of like that. I mean, my favorite predictions always do is that there's always gonna be some kind of Mad Libs couple coming out. Because I mean, case in point, look at Ariana Grande leaving her husband Dalton. Dalton Gomez for SpongeBob SquarePants.
And he had a wife with a new baby.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, did you see the photo yesterday? The photo is a haunted photo. I felt like, again, I needed to jump in a vat of holy water after seeing that photo. Like, I felt like I needed to like cleanse myself. Like that photo was absolutely haunted. Like
when you made that post, I died. I felt like I died when I saw your post.
The thing that gets to me the most is the way how much she looks like a goofy version of her brother.
Oh my god, he does. And those two, I mean, the way that they looked in that photo, I was like, they are my sleep paralysis demons. It was giving they are like so terrifying. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like the lack of eyebrows that Ariana's rocking right now or what, or maybe just like the deviousness of like the situation. But I was just like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And what's so wild to me, and I had forgotten about it until someone had mentioned it on TMZ's podcast yesterday that it's like I forgot that she's got a history of going after men who are taken.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. Does. It's like, damn girl.
No, and I know, and like, I've had people get on to me about like, oh well, like she didn't steal him from his wife, and it's like, I'm like, I don't think that, but I also do think that you're aware that this person has a wife and a kid.
Yeah.
So like as a woman, like you would instinctively feel like absolutely terrible, even if like let's say like a kiss happened and then you were like, wow, I got caught up in the moment and I shouldn't have done that, or it happened once and then you're like, I need to like let the wife know and like repent and like distance myself. But, like,
exactly.
This is, like, there's a history of this, like where it's these unavailable men, and it's like the men are like number one to blame, but like Ariana has a part in this too. Like, I'm sorry, like it's so not cool. Like if you know somebody has a wife and kids, like also like if they're like pursuing you in that way, like aren't you also thinking like, wow, like what a piece of shit.
What's so sad is that it's like his ex. I mean, I feel so bad for his ex-wife because it's like she said they spent a lot of time with her and Dalton, and like she spent time with the baby and all, and like somehow she wants kids someday and just fawned over the family and whatnot. All the time, like we're probably sitting there banging him behind the closed doors. Like,
and that's the thing. I felt like it was so deceptive and like horrid towards that poor woman. I hope that she has her Ariana Madix moment and like just. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I felt terrible for her, but then also I felt even worse for her because even like on an episode of Dumois, she was talking about how she had gotten, I think, a lot of like messages or whatever. People said that they were on set, like, I mean, they were flaunting it. They were flaunting it before it came.
I remember reading a blonde item about that.
Yeah, before he had called things off with his wife, that it was like they didn't hide it at all. They didn't care.
People were getting fed up. Yeah.
I would be so ashamed. Like, I would be so just, I mean, and I would just assume.
Hopefully it'll clear up in a second. I think it's hard. Is that right? I think it's hard.
I think connection. It is.
To be honest with you, it's probably mine because I'm at my parents' place in Vegas, and it's like, oh, it's not as good as I want in LA, but. So it might be. I haven't done StreamYard here, so it might be on my end actually. But if we do this again when I'm in LA, it'll be super perfect. And I always go near the router there. Here I have to like hide in this room because everyone's so
we have to
loud.
Do this again.
Was it like Austin was like with another scandalous couple? Was it TJ Holmes and Amy Robach?
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
But now that's coming out saying that they were actually they're saying that it's coming out now. I don't know how believable it is, but that they were actually, the reason why they were out and about was because they actually had already like in a process of getting divorced from their spouses. That's what supposedly that's why they were out and about, like kind of shamelessly. But I don't know how true that is.
And now their spouses are dating each other.
That was so nuts. You would hope, you know what I mean? But like I put it past no one to like be, cheating in order to like get out of a relationship instead of just doing the mature adult thing and ending it or whatever. I just feel like people are just out in the streets just cheating left, right, and center. And I feel like this year was like a particularly bad year of like celebrity breakups and like just cheating scandals and people being absolute scoundrels. And I think it's because we're far enough out of it from the pandemic that people are just back in the swing of things. And
I agree. That's right.
They have more room to misbehave a little bit, But okay, so do you all have any crazy pop culture predictions for 2024 that we can like mark right here, right now, and then we can look back and see if you're right?
I'm gonna throw some out there. Let's see. I'm like, well, this one's kind of a general one, but like, I said how it's like that. I was like to predict the celebrity Mad Libs couple, like just random couples. Like how this year you had Tyga and Avril Lavigne.
Oh yeah,
and I have Cher and what's it, Amber Rose's ex-boyfriend. Like, stuff like that. You have more of that. I think we'll see some more of those. Let's see. I think I'll probably say one of the easiest ones for me to come up was probably some Oscar predictions. I think Barbie's gonna do pretty well. I want to see Ryan Gosling win, but there's like it's like the Oscars are so stacked this year. Like there's so many good, it's fine. I'm not even really a movie person, but there's been some really good shit out this year. And I think
Barbie, like Oppenheimer, like
been huge. See, I think that Jacob Elordi, I think, is, if not this year, I think he's gonna definitely win an Oscar within the next 2 or 3 years. He's been really blowing up. I'm getting more like
he was in Saltburn, right? I just watched Saltburn.
Yes, I saw that.
That movie is really good at that. That was a nutty movie.
I heard you said it was good.
There's some parts that really grossed me out, but it was a good movie otherwise.
I don't know why. Like, I just have this gut instinct that like Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel are gonna get divorced. I don't know why. Like, I've had that instinct for a while. And I hate to say it, but that's one that I just, for whatever reason, my intuition. And the other thing that I really, really feel, and I'm sorry that this is another negative towards a relationship, is Gary Golden Bachelor and Teresa, their body language was totally off in the last photo I saw. And I think that it's like
I think it's because all the stuff coming out. Do you think it's all the stuff that's been coming out about Gary?
I just don't know. Maybe he's not Mr. Wonderful when she's not having to
because it's like that expose came out about him. What was it? Was it Page 6 that did it?
I think so. I didn't read it.
That expose, or was it Daily Mail?
The Hollywood Reporter or something, and like he had this girlfriend, a serious girlfriend. He was definitely like made like the lake house that he bought with his late wife like a bachelor pad, and he apparently the girl was like he had a high school reunion coming up and she'd gained 10 pounds. He's like, well, I'm not taking you looking like that. And
it was a lot of stuff that came out about him, but it's like he wasn't exactly what everybody thought he was.
I can see that. That's sad.
I think it's like, you're hamming it up for the TV. You're competing with all these other women for this guy. You're getting these like limited experiences with him that are so like magical that it's like we're on a helicopter, or like we're whatever. But like you're engaged and you're getting to know each other in like a more normal setting, and like you just wonder. But the body language was really off in a photo that I saw of them where like it was off, and my gut was like, I think they'll go through with the wedding. It's going to be on televised for The Bachelor. But I think that I don't think the relationship is going to end well. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right, because I was starting to wonder about that. Because it was right before the finale aired that all that stuff was coming out. I was like, oh man, I was like, she's gonna be blindsided. Like she's gonna be blindsided, and that will not be good. But with my predictions, I predict that I'm gonna go to reality TV a little bit.
I want to hear this.
I predict that Larsa Pippen and Marcus Jordan are going to get engaged, and I think that Larsa had a big agenda behind all this. I
can see that.
There's no other way to put it. I think she
get it.
Wants to get the big middle finger, fuck you to somebody. I don't know who exactly, but
Michael Jordan for not liking her.
Could very well be, but it's like she did something. I mean, of all people, because knowing how Michael and Scotty feuded, and then they went through that divorce, and which wasn't really, I guess, the best, but I think they get along for their kids kind of now for whatever reason. But I think that was a slight to them. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened that the Kardashians just like dropped her like that.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering exactly what happened, but yeah, they dropped Larsa. They never looked back, and they're like forgiving people.
Something like she must have sold a story or something.
That's not that I can figure.
That's and I heard something about Kanye. I think it was something happened or whatever with Kanye, and I think that's what it was. That supposedly, I think that's a rumor that it could be dealing with that, but I still don't know. I still would like to know. I think what else do I think? Mark Cuban, something I think is going on. I think something's going to come up with him, because it's weird how all of a sudden he's like, what, he got out of Shark Tank, and he's selling like his portion of was it the Mavericks that he owns? Like he's like, all this stuff's happening, so I don't know what's going on. I feel like something's going on. I don't know if something's bad's gonna come out about him, or if he's like gonna up and like run for president or something crazy. I don't know, but I feel like something's happening or gonna come out.
Wow, that's really interesting. I feel kind of the same way about Scooter Braun, because he had a bunch of people drop him and then went silent. And I feel like something could come up about him in the new year. Okay. Do you all watch Southern Charm too, right?
Yes, we're obsessed with that.
Yeah, we recap it.
Yeah, recap it on our.
I thought I'd seen you guys recap it. Okay, I didn't want to make sure I wasn't making that up. So what I want to know is, do you think in 2024, when we get the Southern Charm reunion, are we ever going to find out or get an admission that Taylor and Austin slept together? And the follow-up question to that question is, do you think that they actually just kissed, or do you think they definitely slept together?
I think they're going to take that to the grave, and I think that they absolutely did sleep together.
I think that I think what I'm thinking too. I think they slept together, but at the same time, the more I thought about it, was listening to Reality Bites podcast and breaking it down, because they know them, they know the cast, because they were like, especially EP, because she obviously executive producer for years on that show in particular. She thinks that they probably did everything but, because that way it's like it's easier because it's easier to stand on. To keep combating saying we did not have sex and stuff like that, you know. Well, you know what's interesting about that one, because again, I heard about that one from Demois whenever it came out, and Page 6 released on the same time. And it's kind of funny because somebody was talking about that recently. Because whenever I posted about it on my Instagram stories, I was like, what? I'm like, this is crazy. And one of my old coworkers had DM'd me. She was like, oh yeah, I heard about this a month ago because someone at I don't want to say too many details on here, but I'll DM you. Tell you, but someone at She Knows had dinner with Chef wouldn't stop talking about it. And this is like a month before Page 6 released it. So I kind of feel like that apparently I think that they might have been kind of known amongst the friend groups and stuff like that. And people in their circles, like before Page 6 released it, which I think it was Whitney who released it. So either him or someone in production.
I think
because it conveniently came out during a time we were in Jamaica. And he wasn't around most of the time. So I could see him being a part of that.
Oh, but, that's such a good theory.
But yeah, I found out that from like someone I used to work with. She said that.
And Whitney would make sense because he is such a producer, you know. But that's really I'm glad I asked you all that. I'm very excited to like see where this goes. But me too. Yeah, I there's no way that more didn't happen, and it didn't happen more than one time, because Austin's got caught in a lie so many times. The inconsistencies with the when it happened of like, oh, I thought it was before New York or however that played out.
Exactly. And that's what it is. He
almost said when we effed, like you saw it kind of almost.
It was starting to come out.
And he stopped himself and he changed it to like it out, and it's like, really, you know. So,
exactly. That's why that's what I think it might be possible that they went all.
It's also crazy that Taylor's brother passed away like between I think after the season, right?
Yeah. That's so crazy. It's
I wonder if it was the one she was on the phone with or not, that she was like complaining. Oh, I mean, and that's so sad, you know, that she had that tragedy, but it was also crazy to see the way that she said, I love my brother like you love your brother. I was like, oh my God, she didn't realize like what she was saying.
I know. I was just like, I thought that was just face palming during that moment.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. And then Vanita jumped in. Vanita was all-star. She was an all-star friend at that time. She was just like, looks to Olivia. She's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm sorry.
She apologized for her, you know? It's like, but it's funny because it's bad. Because I mean, a lot of people know, see, they feel like JC's polarizing, but I like him. I like him a lot. At moments, I feel like he tries a little too hard, but I like him.
Yeah,
but it's funny you brought up Southern Charm, because like, you know, not only were me and Kim obsessed with the show, but it's like our favorite. But like I'm also like sad that Southern Charm New Orleans didn't make it past 2 seasons.
Oh, I know.
Because I remember like one thing is at what job I was at, someone came in and was talking about how she interviewed Tamika for a local magazine that she runs, and she said that they're actually about to start production for season 3, but I guess COVID got in the way and it just never happened or something. But a lot of people seem to like that one. But I wish that one would come back in some kind of iteration, because but then also getting back to
might though. Like really? I've heard whispers of that. Well, I don't know. My friend is rewatching it right now. My friend Kiki Monique, and she's been putting it on her story.
I love her.
I love Kiki Monique.
Yeah. So she said something today on her stories about like she'd heard that maybe they would be bringing it back or something. So hopefully, like the more people talk about it, the network will be aware that people really liked it and will reiterate it. I haven't watched it, so is that something I should dive into?
Yes,
absolutely.
Watch it, and start it from the beginning, because just like Blair had mentioned the other day, it's like when you watch it, especially if we watch the first season, it's so different from how it is now. You see how it evolves, but not only that, but it's like you'll watch it and you're like, how the hell did it even go on to season 2? Because I was kind of like that, but it's like really, it's like whenever Catherine got knocked up by Thomas, I think, because that's when everything starts to like turn around, and that's I think this show starts like really get good, especially when Austin came on, and it changed a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. Actually, I literally just started watching season 1, episode 1 again. It's funny because Leva's actually on the very first episode, because like Cameron's at her house and with another friend of theirs, and so she's on there, and Rodrigo's in like episode 2 or 3, because it was girl Jenna's house, and But it's funny, but what's so crazy is the fact that I didn't realize how problematic Whitney is.
Yeah, that
Whitney is terrible.
Oh, especially like when you watch his early episodes.
It's like now it's like a show that would not be made, but it's like, I mean, the fact that it's evolved, I think that's why he kind of.
Well, they had to get rid of some episodes, like because people like took them to task, and there was like literally like people saying like horrid things. Yes, like a racist joke, like Thomas Ravenel's dad made like some like racist joke, like, and it just like it was just, like, went over everyone's head. Like it was like nobody like. Yeah, I've seen all of the regular Southern Charm. I need to watch the NOLA one. And
yeah, definitely watch the NOLA.
Dive into that. But the regular one, or the like, I guess is that just Southern Charm? They don't say Southern Charm Charleston. Yes. But anyway, like that one, I mean, even the early ago. Season 5 of Southern Charm, when Ashley is with Thomas Ravenel, and then like it's Ashley like going after Catherine and like trying to like kind of get in with Patricia, but it ends up like Patricia ends up going against her, and like you have like Mr. Kale removing her from the party, and she was just, I mean, she was horrible. I was like, I remember thinking like at that time, I was like, I see this woman like in the street, like it's on site, like I just like want to fight her. Like she's saying that this woman's like a an egg donor or something. Like she said horrid things.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
it was wild television. It was wild. And God, I mean, Southern Charms, it was also one of those ones where I feel like we had a few flat seasons, and they really they're having a good season this season because they're having their own mini Scandival.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like I definitely called Little Engine I could, because I couldn't really see it move. Like even though this stuff with Thomas and Catherine was pretty scandalous, I didn't think it was going to make it past one season, and I think it may have gotten a later renewal because if you pay attention to it, it looks like maybe like I think a year and a half or 2 years had gone by between the first season and the second season.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Because Cameron I think was single, I think in the first season or something like that, or maybe was just dating Jason. But she was married at that point to him. But then also it's like that. I mean, I understand too, like that production was not happy with her because she hid all that stuff off camera, didn't have them on there, on a show and stuff too. But I think it was really interesting because Catherine made a comment saying something about Jason cheating on her, and
I remember that because
Craig's reaction was very much like his reaction was like,
did you really say that on camera?
Like you should have said it on camera.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
That's when everybody started to ice her out. And
oh my god! So he
I remember that was last season, huh? It was last season. That was
But I mean, everybody seemed weird. I'd like to see Catherine come back, but I feel like that she needs to get herself together more. And I think that's why they don't have her on there right now.
Well, I mean, like I think didn't she hit a cross guard or something with her car?
Yeah, it was. She hit a cop, like a resource officer at a school.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then and she like sped off. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I have no idea because the car was registered to her, so I'm assuming it was. I don't know who else that could have been driving it.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's still driving like Bentleys. Like, remember she like bought a Patricia car for herself?
She was, but that's a good question because I think this vehicle was like a Ford Escape or something. It was something a whole lot cheaper than that Bentley. So that's what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, wonder if she still has a Bentley.
That was wild. I mean, that just goes to show that she started the show when she was like 19 years old, and then had all these guys that were so much older going after her, which like is so creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Because I was watching it, and so I remember in season 1 at one point she was talking about how she was about to turn 22. And Craig was the only one who was interested in who was age appropriate because Craig was like 24 at the time, because like 24, 25, because he's only about 2 or 3 years older than her. And everybody, and I think it's really sad because it's like just to see how fucked up she's become. And a lot of that was a result of all these older men preying on her.
Yeah. And Thomas Ravenel especially, because it's like we know with what we know, could you imagine the stuff that we don't know that's like,
exactly
behind closed doors? Like he's just a monster.
Oh yeah. And I know there's women that's come forward about him.
Yeah.
That's how he got locked up for he was locked up for a little bit.
Yeah, he was in jail for a little bit, right? Thomas Ravenel. And then he came back
for a little bit for like sexual assault. Yeah, but not.
I didn't know that.
he has like
not
what the custody is, but I feel like he has like the kids part of the time too.
Oh, he's got
full
custody.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's full still.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just so wild to me that he
It
can
is,
do all those things.
Mhm.
You have to God that they just have a really good nanny that he doesn't want to sleep with, so the kids don't have to see that.
Oh no, yeah,
They're just kind of sequestered.
Kids.
I know. I do too. I do.
I was
too.
like,
And
either way, they don't win. You know, like they have to.
Yeah, and they're not the only other kids going through. Like, oh my, I feel bad for Kim and Croy's kids.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh, those two are insane.
I'm like, what is?
I never thought in a million years that they would have been like having like this kind of like tumultuous marriage. But at the same time, it makes sense for people who flaunt it the most about everything being this and that and perfect and whatnot. It's like it's usually not.
Well, the way that they were spending too, and now they're like in such like extreme financial issues, and then like there's like the pregnancy story, and it's like, are you guys like making this up for like fodder? Like what? I don't understand what they're doing or what the strategy is.
She does all that stuff now for clickbait. She's like, that's how desperate she is for money. So she's put up all kinds of stories. Like the other day, she had one on Twitter. She posted it was about like a Real Housewives of. I didn't even know there was a Real Housewives of Vancouver, but apparently. Like she said something about like it was a clickbait story about
are supposed to be.
Yeah, there was like a clickbait story about someone's son that had died or whatever. That was a cast member, and I'm like, of all things, I'm like, you're gonna use that as a clickbait story about someone whose child died. I'm like, that's kind of horrible, but yeah, that was
for her. Oh,
yeah, that was crazy. But wait, actually, I saw the whole spending thing. Like whenever I found out that had a huge thing, had a huge factor in their relationship, and that huge rift that they've got going on. I saw it whenever I was watching Tardy for the Party, whenever they went to their road trip to like Arizona, and everywhere they stopped, Kim had to stop to a casino. She was blowing all kinds of money, and I was like, "That's a problem." Crazy. It was scary. It was nuts. I was like, "Oh boy!" So it made sense to me. Like all the things like Troy was saying, even with the body cam footage, you could tell like that's a man who like lost it because of the things going on. But at the same time, it's kind of like I don't know. It's like who's calling off the divorce and who's. It's everything's like all over the place. It's like 1 minute they're getting divorced, 1 minute they're not, and then I don't know.
I can imagine his family's like, I told you so, because they never liked her.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but like, didn't he make like tens of millions of dollars playing football? Like, doesn't he have like a pretty high net worth for her to have blown through all that?
I don't know how much I don't know how much he made in the NFL. I think he did pretty well, like well for himself, and he's got his pension and everything, his retirement, but she like the amount of money like she was spending was just it was unreal. And I was watching a clip from like one of the reunions years ago when I think she went on I don't even know if she was even still in the Housewives. I think she was like a friend of at the time, and they were talking about how she was spending all this money and like bought a boat or whatever and all this other stuff, and everybody's just sitting there staring. And again, she was saying how she her skincare line I think like made like 15 million that year, and then like Portia made a comment or whatever, and she's like, that's Kim K money right there at the time. And so it's like it was kind of like they were all like trying to figure out like what in the world, but it looks like it's catching up with them now. But it's I just feel bad for those kids because the kids apparently they call the cops all the time. So
did we ever find out who Big Papa was?
Years ago,
I think I know years ago it came out, but I never paid attention too much. But it was
I'm curious
because I remember that was her mystery benefactor for a long time. Was like the Big Papa guy. Like Kim has always had some shady shit going on.
Right, Big Papa. You're right. Now Brielle.
He was a
real
estate. Looks like he's a real estate manager.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now I remember that name. Yeah.
Now, do her and Brielle and Ariana have different dads or the same dads?
I think the same.
Okay.
I think the same. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
So. It's just
and Corey just ended up adopting them because they had nothing to do with their dad. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, but
what a mess. Oh.
That is a mess. That is a mess. That's one of those ones where you're like, is this gonna end up being like a true crime story because somebody's gonna like lose it? You know?
I think about that a lot. I hope not.
Yeah, that's what scares me, because the way that Croy is acting, it's like it kind of it scares me. It scares me because it seems like a man that's being pushed to his limits, and you don't know. Of course, that combined with, I don't know if he suffers from CTE or anything from like playing in the NFL. Like, there's a lot of factors, a lot of things can come into play, and it's scary because all it takes is a perfect storm to hit, and then everything could be rocked, and that's what's so scary about it.
You just hope they like get separated, like file for bankruptcy or something, and then just go about their merry ways, like in different, not together, like apart, because
definitely
it's just not good. It's crazy.
No, not at all. So I think that about almost Jonathan Majors. That's what that was. Talk about, you know what though? I'm like, you do the crime, you do the time. So
I think it's nothing was done.
I mean, there was too much evidence. There was too much there. I mean,
you know what? Nobody ever gets convicted for those kinds of things. So I was actually surprised that like it actually like, worked out, because I was
I was surprised too. I was actually kind of surprised.
Happy to see
every
that.
Now and then you have the ones who do work out, and
I think we're all just so used to like people not being held accountable that we're like, like probably not going to be, and then it's always surprising they are. It's all right. Well, I guess the justice system worked this time.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I think another part of it too is the fact that when it comes to people of color, especially Black people, there's not much of a margin for error.
No.
Because I mean, look at Will Smith. I mean, what he did. I mean, I hated what he did, and I didn't like it at all. And I feel like that, but I feel like he just was pushed to his limits, you know. But with a slap with Chris Rock, but it's like, he still never recovered from that. It's like, and granted, it's definitely. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't like it, and it wasn't good, but it wasn't the worst thing like I've seen from other people who have recovered from that. Recovered from scandal.
Oh my God! Like think about it. Like I don't know. I feel like there's been people that have been drunk on the stage at these. Or have like literally been like behaving like wildly. Like Cara Delevingne like was being insane on like a red carpet. Like,
yes, I remember.
You know what I mean? Like it's like there's definitely like a double standard. Like when it comes to like what people are upheld. The standard people are upheld to, and then the stain that's going to be on their reputation and how people are going to perceive them. It's like you just off the rails.
It's so true, because they showed a clip from years ago. I think I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Alicia Silverstone. Silverstone. Yeah, why did I say Silverstein? It's probably because I haven't seen her in years on camera. But I think it was her, or it was somebody. It was an actress, and I think it was Jim Carrey, or it was like one of the awards where it's like that's right. He just kissed her, like just forced himself on her, and it's like now if that happened, it's like everybody would raise hell. And
it's like he had the nerve to say stuff like that. Will Smith should be punished really badly for something, but Jim Carrey is a piece of shit, and
he is the last person that should be saying anything about anything.
Exactly.
Because he had that whole situation where like the first person he was with got herpes from him, and she, I believe, ended her life. Like, like she really struggled after being with him. So it's just people should not point fingers when they
exactly
a bunch of fingers pointed back at them. And I mean, even like when you think about it, like I mean, that happened obviously so publicly with Will Smith, but when you think about it, like what potentially happens at these after parties that's like heard about, it's like, does it matter just that everyone saw it and that's why it's a problem? I'm sure people have gotten into fistfights at Oscars after parties.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's also why you have a lot of people too who like go to these award shows and they'll literally just go home with their families and just eat or something, because they probably know there's like nothing good that goes on at these parties.
No, I mean, right? You just probably only want to stay for a certain amount of time, because at a certain point in the night, you're very visible. I'm right there with you on that one. I think Will should be able to go back to the Oscars.
I agree.
He also like had such a rough year with Jada Pinkett Smith. Like all of their relationship like became so public, and like the openness of it, and like just all these different aspects of it.
It's like, do we need to know all this Jada?
I know that was massive. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm curious to see what.
Less.
Right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm curious to see what 2024 will hold. But yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up because
we
about to hit our
excellent.
Oh, this is so much fun.
And thank you so much, Lauren. I can't thank you enough for.
And
y'all, oh my god, thank you. Are you kidding? Thank you for having me on. This is so fun.
Yes.
Yes, and we'll leave your social media like handles, and everyone follow the Zen Blonde on TikTok, on Instagram, and podcast, YouTube. Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Anything else you feel like plugging in?
Oh my gosh, that's just about it. But everyone continue to listen to Blair and Kimberly, and I can't wait to share this with a bunch of the people on my platforms so they can all hear our predictions. And hopefully we were right about some of these 2024 ones. We'll have to look back.
Oh, I hope so.
Right.
Oh my gosh, for sure. But yeah, this is so much fun though. But thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, and thank y'all for listening and tuning in. And please like, follow, and subscribe, and it's gonna get better. Oh yeah, we've got some great things coming.
Oh yeah,
thank y'all. Oh yeah. Goodbye, y'all.